0 to 60 happens in only 5.6 seconds, or about a half second faster than our recent test of the 93 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. And the Cobra can slither through the quarter mile in an even more impressive 14.3 seconds at 98 miles per hour. Acceleration worthy of the Cobra name.
Mustang Cobra. Those two words together mean one thing: a fast muscle car. However, the 1993 Mustang Cobra, was it actually worthy of its name? That's what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to be just kind of going through this review and seeing, was the 1993 Mustang Cobra actually worthy of being called a Cobra? Because during this time period, a lot had changed in 1 year. In 1993, the Ford Mustang Foxbody had been around since 1979. It was beyond an old car. I mean, heck, it was supposed to be replaced by the Ford Probe, and that didn't happen. To add on to that, the typical Mustang rival, the Camaro, the Firebird, had just came out with their generation, packing a 275 horsepower V8, the LT1, along with a 6-speed transmission and amazing styling. The Mustang was looking pretty tired. So luckily, they decided to at least send it off with the Ford Mustang Cobra. The thing is, was it really a proper send-off? Or was this just, oh, we're biding time until the next generation Mustang comes out, the SN95? Let's go ahead and see what John and them have to say.
Been escalating at a galloping pace. First to make a move was General Motors with their all-new F-bodies, the Chevrolet Camaro and Pontiac Firebird. These impressive designs have raised the ante and expectation of pony car fans. So Ford was in a dilemma. The new Mustang isn't due out until late this year. In order to give Mustang fans something to cheer about until then, Ford turned to its special vehicle team for help. The 93 Mustang Cobra is the result. The 1993 Mustang Cobra sure doesn't look that much different from its siblings, the plain Jane 5-liter LX and the more aggressive GT. But sharp-eyed enthusiasts might notice the Cobra's unique front-end treatment, complete with a traditional prancing pony in the middle of the grille. Or they might spot the propeller-inspired 17-inch rims that wear massive Z-rated Goodyear Eagle GSCs. Other detail changes unfold at the rear, where SVO-style taillights complement a revised rear valance panel and spoiler. New side rocker panels are stylish and not as tacked-on looking as those on the GT. This last Mustang of its generation is clearly the best looking. But the real news for the...
I will admit, I do think the 93 Cobra is, as someone who loved the boy racer look of the Mustang GT, the styling of the Cobra was a needed evolution. Having the running horse in the grille, the taillights, and also most importantly, one thing they mentioned is that the wheels look cool, but also they're 5-lug. I don't understand why the Foxbody generation stuck with 4-lug for so long. I mean, when they did the refresh for the Aero Fox in '87, why weren't they all 5-lug? I love the taillights. The spoiler to me looks better. Overall, it's a better looking car. The only thing that I just don't like, the car looks so tall and boxy. I know that with the Foxbody, it's always going to be a boxy looking vehicle. I mean, it's in the name at this point. But it would have been cool if they did something with the suspension to at least lower it a little bit, make the car look a little bit wider, more aggressive.
But the real news for the 93 Cobra is under the hood. Ford's revised horsepower ratings peg this motor at 235. That's 30 more than the normal Mustang 5-liter, and a clear hint at what to expect from the next generation car. A revised intake manifold, new GT40-inspired cylinder heads, larger valves, and a host of other refinements increase peak horsepower while decreasing torque to 280 pound-feet. The standard 5-liter remains at 300 even. Even without the superior torque of lesser Mustangs, the Cobra is still the quickest of them all. 0 to 60 happens in only 5.6 seconds, or about a half second faster than our recent test of the 93 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. And the Cobra can slither through the quarter mile in an even more impressive 14.3 seconds at 98 miles per hour. Acceleration worthy of the Cobra name. One thing...
Okay, so here's one area where I think they kind of fumbled the ball when it came to the Cobra. 235 horsepower isn't bad, but the thing is, as they just mentioned, it's 30 horsepower more than the GT. It's because in 93, they actually underrated the GT to be 205 horsepower, because not too long ago, the Mustang GT was 225, or around like 225, 215. It's a little bit fuzzy on that one. 235 horsepower, while it does make pretty decent numbers. I mean, the 0 to 60 of 5.6 seconds, that's not too bad, honestly. It's probably because the Foxbody is just such a light car. In 96, when they did the 4.6 Cobra, I mean, that was tested at 5.5 seconds, so only slightly faster. They even mentioned that the Trans Am was just a third of a second faster in 0 to 60, but 235 horsepower just feels very weak. It would have been great if this was a solid 270, 250, because again, 1993, Pontiac Trans Am, Camaro Z28, 275 horsepower. The Mustang Cobra at 235 just does not feel as tough or as aggressive. What do you think down below? Do you think these cars were underrated, or do you think the horsepower should have been nudged up higher so they were overrated? Kicked up a couple more notches so it felt like a true worthy Cobra engine.
Handling was an area where Ford's special vehicle team paid particular attention. And if our information is correct, the 1993 Cobra's front McPherson strut and rear trailing link suspension will be very similar to the one under the redesigned 94 Mustang.
Okay, that's kind of funny. The front suspension and rear suspension are going to be very similar to what's coming out in 94. Yet no duh, it's still a Fox chassis car. Parts are a little bit different, don't get me wrong, the 94 is wider, but it's a little bit funny that they have to state that out.
That's good news because the Cobra handles better than any other Mustang we've grabbed by the reins. With a softer suspension beneath all four corners, we found the Cobra turns in a bit slower, yet settles down in corners much better. The new suspension components allow the Mustang to absorb harsh bumps in the middle of turns more easily. Nearly gone is the regular Mustang's tendency to buck its back end when the pavement turns rough. The body does roll a bit more now, but not to the extent that it affects driver control. Another definite benefit of this new suspension is a Mustang ride that is no longer tiring on long trips. But fuel consumption is still typical pony car. EPA rates the Cobra at 17 city and 24 highway.
Okay, this I find actually fascinating, and I've been noticing this for the past couple years. 17 city, 24 highway has literally been the Mustang V8 gas mileage forever. My 2001 Roush does that. My 99 Mustang GT did that. When I used to be a car salesperson at Ford, that's what the new 5.0 Mustangs did as well. Always been right around 24, 25 highway, 17 city. There's something just fascinating about that. In fact, in my SVO video, I even noted like, wow, the horsepower, is considerably different, but man, the gas mileage sure is the same.
Less has changed on the inside, unless you include some new floor mats that have the word Cobra embroidered on them. The dash is full of simple and easy to use switches and knobs, but except for the driver airbag, the layout now looks very dated. The standard cloth and vinyl bucket seats are the same as those in the regular GT. They're comfortable and quite adjustable, but lack lateral support, especially given the Cobra's considerable cornering power. The Cobra sports the same very legible instrumentation of other Mustangs, complete with oil pressure and voltmeter gauges.
What I find fascinating about this is the fact that I think from the factory, Ford Mustang Foxbody interiors were worn out. I don't know what it is. It must have been the dye they were using, but that already looks like a 10-year-old car on the inside. Never mind much later. And I do think it's interesting that, with the Cobra, they didn't give it special bucket seats. We saw in the SVO that they did that. Why not for the Cobra? I mean, those seats are pretty garbage. Now, what I do find funny here is the gauges. Unlike the GT and the LX, it doesn't say normal when it goes to the gauges. It's actually like, oh, here's indicators instead of the usual question of like, hey, is my car running too hot? It's on the top part of the O. I have to put up a screenshot of people asking that back in the old forum days, but I think this is another area where Ford tripped up. It would have been nice to make the Cobra's interior a little bit more special. At least give it sport bucket seats with better lateral grip if handling was really supposed to be its new thing. Maybe some white face gauges, maybe a little extra Shazam before they go ahead and get rid of the Foxbody. I will say, the Foxbody being a hatchback, and I've had a hatchback Foxbody, those are really, really versatile. You can load so much stuff into them.
Mustang Cobra prices start at $19,900. While that's a substantial leap over a standard Mustang GT, it still compares well with the Cobra's GM competition. MotorWeek's hits start with the Cobra's muscular motor. We also like the more capable handling, He-Man brakes, and far smoother ride, and still classically aggressive styling. Misses are the overall dated interior and lack of an anti-lock system. Despite the fact that the current Mustang is soon headed for the last roundup, the Cobra certainly stirred our attention. Its performance clearly warrants the fabled Cobra title, and the limited run of 5,000 will go quickly. More importantly, however, is the fact that the Cobra is a building block for the new Mustang.
My hot take is that this is a cool car, but I'm not sure if it was really worthy of the Cobra name. I feel like they could have had more horsepower, and you saw like towards the end of that clip, the car kind of bobs up and down. I just think it was silly that they made the suspension softer. I think it should have been lower. And the thing is, for $19,900 in 1993, that's equivalent to about $44,000. That's a lot of money for a car that across town, General Motors has more horsepower. And here's the other thing. While the Camaro and the Firebird definitely had more horsepower and were similarly priced, what if you want something different? This is an old Car and Driver article. I love reading their stuff. And, for similar money, maybe a little bit more, you could also look into a Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX. 4-wheel drive, turbo 4-cylinder. Looking at their specs right here, these do look like they're a bit more expensive. And when it came to their 0-60, 6.4, a little bit slower. But I do believe that these actually open up very aggressively in the aftermarket. Another idea, Volkswagen Corrado SLC. You're still looking around the same price point, a little bit slower. But here's what I'm getting at is okay, the Mustang Cobra, cool car, but it's also a little bit past its prime. And that's kind of what I'm getting at. The Mustang Cobra was definitely a cool car. Improvement, the price, not too bad, honestly. $44,000, considering the fact that, if you wanted an import with similar performance, you're going to be spending a little bit more for a little bit less. But then you also have to think, do I really want to be buying a brand new 1993 from 1979? What would have you done? Would have you gone Cobra? Would have you gone Camaro and Firebird? Or would you looked at an import, such as the Mitsubishi Eclipse? Leave me a comment down below. Because honestly, I'm a bit conflicted. I love Fox bodies. I'm kind of a Mustang guy. But also, I can't help but just say 235 horsepower compared to 275 for roughly the same price. If you like this kind of content, go ahead and comment, like, and subscribe. I'm doing this for fun. Let me know down below, and I'll see you next time.